Hi there. Welcome to the Healthy Church Staff Podcast. We've been in the middle of a series for church leaders, for church staff people, where we're trying to learn from Scripture from the Apostle Paul. And in our last episode yesterday, if you missed it, we explored Paul's courage in confronting error and speaking the truth in love. And today we're going to make a little bit of a pivot because we're going to delve into another essential aspect of the Apostle Paul's ministry, and that's his holistic approach to serving people. And here's what I mean by that. Paul wasn't just concerned with people's spiritual well-being. He cared for them as whole individuals. A lot of times he addressed their physical and their emotional and their relational needs as well. It was really a holistic approach. I don't know if they would have called it that back then or if we would have even called it that maybe 20 years ago. But this holistic approach that Paul used is really a powerful model for us as church leaders to emanate today in our own personal ministries and in the ministries of our church. Okay, so let's start here. One of the most striking examples of Paul's holistic ministry, I think, is found in his letter to the Philippians, where he describes himself as all things to all people. You'll find that in Philippians chapter 1, verse 15. Now, he doesn't mean here that he's compromised his faith or that he's conformed to the world. Instead, it shows really his willingness to adapt his approach and connect with people on their own terms, wherever they were. Paul understood that people are not just human beings, but also they have a physical component to them, an emotional. They're also social beings, and he recognized the importance of meeting people where they are and addressing their whole person. And that's why he didn't just preach about salvation. Paul also cared about their physical needs and their relationships and their emotions. Here's another example in his letter to the Corinthians. Paul doesn't just address their spiritual struggles, because there were some real spiritual struggles there with false teaching and immorality and such, but he also offers some practical advice on financial matters and relationships and social customs. And he shows that he really cares about the whole person, not just their spiritual beliefs, although that was very important as well. So let me encourage you and give you hopefully a little bit of admonition and advice today as church leaders, as staff people in our churches. How can we follow Paul's example by ministering to the whole person? And here are 4 different ways I think maybe that could be helpful to you today and the remainder of this week. The first is just be present. Take the time to get to know people beyond their spiritual lives. Now, obviously, you're a pastor, you're a staff person, and their spiritual well-being and their discipleship is of utmost concern to you. But part of that discipleship goes well beyond their spiritual lives. How are they doing with their family? How are they doing with their marriage? How's their job going? How's their emotional well-being? And you only get to be able to speak into people's lives outside of spiritual things when you get to know them. You talk about their interests and their challenges and their dreams and their hopes and their goals. So just being present, taking the time to get to know people beyond the small group meeting is really important. And secondly, meet people where they are. In our churches, hopefully we offer a variety of programs in ministry that cater to different needs and interests. Could be support groups or community outreach or fitness classes, creative arts programs. Everything doesn't have to be an expository Bible study. We need to deal with every aspect of people's lives. And that's number 3, address the whole person. Don't just focus on spiritual matters. Be willing to address people's emotional and relational and physical needs as well. Matter of fact, those of you that do counseling, very few people probably are coming to you with theological, sometimes they do. They're deconstructing or they're dealing with something deeply theological, struggling through it. But most of it is, Pastor, I'm having trouble with my marriage. Pastor, my kids, I don't know what to do with my kids. I'm having what do I do with my job? These are whole person issues, not just spiritual issues, but everything bleeds over. And we need to be willing to sit down with people and hear their stories and minister in all different areas of their whole person. And then finally, just building relationships. Take that time. It goes along with the first one, being present. Take the time to build those genuine relationships with people. And this takes time. It takes time to listen. You need to show empathy and offer support. You need to celebrate their successes. I once heard a story about a pastor who went on a home visit with a family who was struggling financially. And while he was there, he noticed that their refrigerator was empty. And he just didn't offer spiritual advice. He went out and he bought some groceries for him. And it was this simple act of kindness that made a huge impact on their lives and showed them that he truly cared about them as whole people. Now, he could have left and just prayed with and done a nice prayer and left and not thought anything about it, but he met them where they were and met their needs that they were really feeling. And it made a huge difference as he ministered not just to their spiritual needs, but also their physical needs. So here's your bottom line for today. I want you to think about this. Paul's holistic approach to ministry, it challenges me. It should really challenge us to see people as more than just spiritual beings, which is, that's the lens that we're looking through most of the time as pastors and church staff people. But by addressing the whole person, we can create a more loving and welcoming and transformative church community. So here's what I'd love for you to do this week, the rest of this week and this weekend. Take some time to reflect on how you can minister to the whole person in your own life and in your ministry. Where are there areas that you can improve? And maybe it's just taking time to be present. We're so busy. Maybe you just need to take a deep breath, slow down, and be present with people. But simple acts of kindness, ways that you can go beyond the surface and build those deeper relationships with those that you serve, those are areas that I think Paul is trying to model for us in how he lived his life. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Thanks for tuning into the Healthy Church Staff Podcast. We're going to continue on, finish out this week. Tomorrow we're going to talk about, we're going to explore Paul's unwavering commitment to the gospel and his ability to adapt the message to different audiences. That's going to be interesting. So until then, have a great day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Reach out to me anytime. I'm Todd Rhodes. You can catch me at podcast@chemistrystaffing.com. Love to hear from you. Have a great day.